Hey team, regular listeners of the pod will know I will never shy away from an opportunity to talk about discharge on the pod, and luckily our sponsor Skimpies is giving me an incredible opportunity to do just that. Anybody who's known me for a while will know I am fascinated by women who can just go commando without a care in the world. My bod is just not built like that, especially post-kids. But I do still want the freedom of no underwear lines, especially when I'm getting my squats on at the gym. Enter Skimpies, the original leggings liner. You just press the Skimpies into your leggings and you've got an organic cotton barrier right where you need it. And it stays put. It's crazy, even during a sweaty workout. With hundreds of thousands sold, it's a no-brainer. Go to skimpies.com to get started. Skimpies, we just want to be in your pants. Hey team, and welcome. I'm your host, Carrie, creator of Mother Life, your destination for all things real talk and parenting. This is the IRL group chat, where we talk about the wild balancing act of pursuing careers and passions while also doing our best to show up for our kids. Join me every week as I sit down with some badass parents in my closet and we talk about their careers, kids, and relationships and all of the weird shit that comes up when you're trying to balance the seemingly impossible. When Sarah's episode first came out more than a year ago, I was in a really different stage of life with my kids, especially my daughter. Then 1.5, she's now 2.5, going on 13. Every morning after her big brother goes off to school and before it's her turn to head off to daycare, she hangs out with me while I do my basic morning rituals. She helps me grind the beans for my coffee. We walk the dog together. And yes, she hangs out in my bathroom with me while I get dressed and do all of my skincare stuff for the day. In the past 4 months or so, I see her really looking and taking in all of the stuff I do in terms of beauty and wellness. If I hop on the scale, she hops right on after me. She started laying out her clothes to see how her fit hangs together just like I do. For Christmas, she begged for nail polish and chapstick. And every morning she asks me about every product I put on my face and if she can put them on her face too. It's a huge responsibility. She's watching everything I do and how I talk to myself and about myself. And reader, the answer is always no. No, she can't put my products on her face. But we've compromised on a very thorough arms, legs, belly, and cheek moisturizing routine for her using all of her own baby skin products. I never anticipated any of this being part of our relationship so soon. And I also didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I have. In such a short time, my opinions about how my children are exposed to the beauty world, they're already shifting. And I can only imagine with each passing year, another layer of nuance will get added to it. And that's why I feel so lucky to have Sara Tan in my back pocket for speed dial purposes moving forward. Because I think beauty trends, standards, norms will continue to shift, and I want someone thoughtful and loving who's a parent first and foremost to help me navigate it all when the time comes. No drunk elephants for toddlers, guys. Sara is the co-host of the Glossangeles podcast, the podcast for all things beauty. It's part education, part insider baseball, part pop culture, hijinks, and good times. The pod is in Apple's top 10 for beauty podcasts and has featured everyone from Selena Gomez to Jonathan Van Ness and a bajillion people in between. She and her work wife, Kirby Johnson, just hosted the 2026 Ulta Beauty World. Since we last recorded, she left her job as global beauty editor at Refinery 29 to pursue this incredible niche she's built for herself full time. She's seen Justin Bieber at Coachella, very important. She's moved houses, and she's still smiling and loving her life despite all of the change and chaos, a sign she's really doing what she loves. I loved this conversation, and so did so many of you. Just like I didn't expect doing my morning skincare routine with my toddler would be so evocative of core childhood memories for myself, in the same vein, I wasn't expecting this chat to make me so nostalgic for my childhood self, an aspiring journalist and talk show host. Ha! The glory days of devouring teen magazines. My love of Atusa Rubenstein, who, thanks to Sara's inspiration, would become a pod guest in her own right later. Enjoy Sara. She's just the supportive, good energy queen we all deserve.
Okay, hi.
Hi. Sara, thank you so much for doing this. I know.
No, thank you. I'm sorry it's been like
you're
forever coming.
You're the busiest. I mean, I know that
No.
everybody's juggling a lot, but like in addition to having multiple jobs, really, you're also like there's travel involved and you're like out and you're doing things. Like it's a lot logistically and you have the 2 kids. It's a lot.
It is, but everyone is busy, and also no one is forcing me to do anything. I do this on my own volition, so
You're clearly having fun.
Only have myself to blame. But no, I'm so grateful that I get to do all the things that I get to do, and get to come home to my 2 babies.
I think did I hear one, or was that one of mine?
Yeah. No,
okay.
That was mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to the park. And all with that said, thank God for the nannies.
Yeah. Thank God for all of the help, for the daycare, the nanny, the grandparents, whoever is out there giving us a fucking break.
Yeah, no, it really does take a village. So I'm so grateful. Whenever anyone asks me like, how do you do it? I don't know how you do it all. I'm like, well, I have a lot of help.
Yeah. It's the only way. And there's no shame in it. I mean, I was doing the math at some point and I was like, okay, so basically the help that I have is, if I put all of it together, is probably how much I made last year or whatever. And I'm like, I still wouldn't trade it because I need the other thing to be me.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So even if it's not, it's just not a straight financial decision.
No. And stay-at-home parenting, that is like the hardest job in the whole wide world.
That's Olympics.
And I have so much respect for parents who can do that. But I just know that like I need the career side of my life in order for me to be a better mom and parent. And it's also all I knew growing up. Both my parents were working. My mom was she was a very busy working mom too. And I had a nanny and everything. So like, I think it's like sort of the only way that I know.
It's what you know. You know what you know.
Exactly. But I know it's also a privilege to be able to afford a nanny and send Zoe to school. So I definitely do not take that for granted.
Yeah. I mean, I just think about like often a good friend of mine is a single mom and like single, there's no co-parent. And I'm like, fuck, like if her daughter gets, and she's in school. So it's like, okay, well, there is no safety net there and she works in the film industry. So if she's on set, like the logistics of that.
Oh my God. Yeah. I think about single parents a lot because I'm just like, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
It is, it's truly another level. And also I think it just like requires your level of competency at everything to be so high. Anyway, I'm so happy to have you here. I think you know a little bit of the shtick. And what I think is interesting about your career trajectory, and we're going to test the hypothesis, is you very much have been on, it seems, a very clear path in terms of like you studied journalism or writing and have kind of like been on the path building toward, like there hasn't been necessarily, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, like a massive life altering pivot for you. It's more been like a building block situation. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I feel like I say this all the time, but I feel incredibly lucky that I am doing this job that I wanted to do when I was like in middle school, and saw like, obviously like the Connie Chungs of the world. Well, I should just say the Connie Chung.
Yeah, I was about to say
one.
Yeah.
There's only one. I grew up watching a lot of TV, which I think like a lot of millennials did. I watched a lot of MTV and I wanted to be Carson Daly and Suchin Pak, and I wanted to either be on TV or alternatively write. And that was also based on watching things like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, like Kate Hudson's character. Devil Wears Prada was like, I think I was a junior or senior in high school when that movie came out, and like nothing looked more glamorous than Anne Hathaway's job. But I also just was like obsessed with magazines. And so it's just like media in general. I just knew that I wanted to be a part of it. I didn't know in what form, whether that was, behind the scenes, in front of the camera, writing stories. I say this story a lot because I feel like it was a very pivotal part of like my career trajectory. I was a big fan of Cosmo Girl. That was like my favorite magazine. I wanted to write for Cosmo Girl. And at the time, the editor-in-chief, her name was Atusa Rubinstein, and she would think was like one of the youngest editor-in-chiefs at like a major magazine. And I believe I was probably like 14, 15, and I decided to write her an email. And I don't know how, she must have listed her email like in the editor like letter. And I emailed her and I was just like, I want to get into magazines. Like, how do I do that? And she wrote me back.
Oh my God.
Which was crazy. Which I often think about now when like I get, emails from college students and things like that. I'm like, I really need to take the time to give back. But anyways, she wrote me back.
What did Atusa say?
I can't even remember what she said. The fact that she wrote back to me, and I think it was probably something encouraging.
Like, follow your dreams, work hard.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. And now also looking back, she has her own newsletter and she talks about like what a fucking roller coaster that was to be like the editor-in-chief and all the like terrible things that, you just never know. But to me, it seemed like a dream job. She wrote back and said probably something like follow your dreams. And so I took that as a sign that I was like, I'm going to continue this dream of mine. So after high school, went to UC Santa Barbara. I was a comms major. I had like a professional editing, writing minor because they didn't offer journalism at that school. And I did all the internships, at that I could, not being in New York. So, I interned for the LA Times, Santa Barbara Magazine, Santa Barbara Independent, which really afforded me the opportunity to decide, like, there was a part of me that wanted to do like hard news. And
I feel like I'm talking to myself. This is very, very wild to hear somebody else, but I'm going to ask you questions because there's a divergence. So
yeah,
literally the same. Like the only difference being is that I did go to school in New York, so I did get to do all the internships. Like,
yeah.
But I had the same thing where one semester I interned at The Daily Show, but then one semester I interned at CBS News because I was like always trying to decide, like, am I a serious person? Is it frivolous to like entertainment and fashion? Does that make me like shallow? And like,
totally.
you're constantly going back and forth. And I was the same in terms of writing on camera. For me, I was like, I'm 5'10". I'm like not a petite little nugget, which you kind of need to be on camera, or at least you used to need to be that. So I was like, I don't really look like an on-camera person. And then like I was like changing my last name for when I was doing stuff. My maiden name is very, very Jewish. And like I thought that wasn't going to go well in certain markets. Like I was trying to figure out so much about like what other people needed me to be to ultimately like achieve the thing that I wanted to do, which obviously now at almost 40, I'm like, oh, I should have just been the thing I needed to be for me. And then that would have been just fine. Yeah. But at the time, you're like so in your head about it.
Yeah. And also like a million people want this internship, want this job that you want. And like, you just need to say yes to like any opportunity that comes. And I think, for me, I don't think like it, let me take that back. Media wasn't very diverse, obviously, back then, even in terms of like the editorial staff and the writers and the people covering the news. So I don't think that I knew or was very aware of the fact that I was that different yet. Like, I don't think I really realized that. Yes, exactly. Which was good because I don't think I would have I think I would have been a little bit more intimidated if I had realized that. I was just like very steadfast in this dream of mine. But back to your point, like, yeah, I tried all the things because I just wanted to know like what is it that like I wanted to do. after covering like fires and going to the courtroom and like covering hard news in that way, I was like, I don't think hard news is for me. This is like so stressful. I was like, I think I'm more of a lifestyle girl. I really enjoyed my like Santa Barbara magazine internship. I also interned at Tiger Beat and Bop magazine in LA.
Bop.
And yeah, that was, you know, something that as a serious journalist, you're like this feels, you know,
Bop
very
was
unserious.
Like when we were kids, though, wasn't that one of the ones where like you could get like a Justin or what's his name?
Jonathan Taylor
Thomas like poster for your wall.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Devon Sawa, and then even before that, I think the magazine existed in the 70s during the heyday of like what is his name? I'm blanking.
It'll come to you.
Yeah, it'll come to me. Anyways,
I call that celebrity amnesia, when like you're trying to think of somebody and the minute you're trying to recall it, it just disappears.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, you know, the heartthrobs of the 70s. Anyways, so all that to say, there weren't a lot of opportunities for me in editorial being based in Santa Barbara. I had to drive down all the time in LA, and even LA versus New York. So I just said yes to anything. And I'm glad that I did, because my first job out of college was at Tiger Beat and Bop. And even though there was definitely a piece of me that was like a little bit embarrassed, because I'm like, I went to school and worked my ass off to like write blurbs about Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift, and I have to tone my voice down to be that of like a 8-year-old, you know? But it was honestly such a fun experience, and I'm so grateful for that job. I got to run their like blog at the time. That was like, you know, the website
edge.
was a blog. I was blog girl. I was also like creating YouTube videos from the shoots and interviews that we did. So like any of the like,
and this
Justin
is like
Bieber,
what, 2009, 2010-ish?
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is
2000,
like
this is when it was like, exactly, you know, like I think I started our Twitter account. So I was like editing videos and doing the interviews, and it was honestly just such a great learning experience for me in terms of interacting with the talent, honing my like interview skills to be able to like carry on this conversation with like a 16-year-old and make them feel comfortable, and then, you know, get them to open up a little bit, you know, obviously in a very respectful manner. These were children, obviously. Forming relationships with, you know, the publicists and agencies and managers. It was just a really, really great learning experience, because my editor-in-chief at the time, Lisa Coble, she was just like, you know, whatever you want to do, let's do it. And she provided feedback, but she basically let us, you know, run with it. And I met some of my, you know, best friends at that job, because, you know, you're all trauma bonded at 20, 21,
scrapping
22.
It together, making 20 grand a year or whatever it was.
Oh my God. Exactly. Yeah. Spending all your money on rent, and then like charging your drinks to your credit card that has like $1,000, you know, max limit. It's just was such a fun, wild time.
But Sarah, like, what were so you said that you grew up with working parents. Like, what sort of things were they doing professionally, and how much or little of a departure was this for them to watch you do this?
Oh yeah, huge departure. My dad worked in sort of like, I can't even tell you what he did, because he's retired now. But anytime anyone ever asked me, I'm like, I don't really know how to like explain it. But he worked sort of in like, it was like not construction, but like building and construction in that world, like management, and then like an office job.
Yeah.
And then my mom had always worked at banks, like, so banking, financing, also management. Very boring to me. I definitely did not want to follow their footsteps, but unlike, I think, a lot of immigrant parents and a lot of Asian parents, and I know this just based on, you know, my friends who are Asian Americans or have immigrant parents, my parents always supported me. They
were like, just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, they were never like, you need to be a doctor, a lawyer, all the the stereotypes. I think they just trusted me because I was always super, super hardworking in school. Like I, strived to, have straight A's, graduate in white, all the things like for myself. So they were just like, this girl, I think, knows what she's doing. Also, I'm the youngest of 4.
I knew
and my
it.
Parents,
I knew it.
my parents had a big gap between my oldest sister is 16 years older than me. My other sister is 2 years younger than her. They were born in the Philippines. My parents were very young, like 21. Moved to the States. I mean, it wasn't that easy, but there were a lot of, things, but ultimately moved to the States and then had my brother who's 2 years older than me and myself. So we basically, my sisters and I joke, and not even joke because it is a fact, but like the parents that they got were very different from the parents that my brother and I got.
Totally.
So I think by the time I came around, my parents were all just like, do whatever you want. You're the youngest. You can get away with, you're the baby. You can literally get away with anything. But I also, like I said, I was very ambitious and hardworking. So they were like, whatever you want to do. So I think they probably didn't quite understand what I was doing. But I was like, I can pay for my own rent. I'm living with a friend. I have a salary job. Don't worry about it.
Right.
So yeah. So they were extremely supportive in that way. I'm not going to say that they were like, they're people of very little words of encouragement. They show their love in different ways. But I knew that they approved of my choices.
Yeah, we had Vanessa Dew on the podcast recently, one of the co-founders of Health Aid, and she talked a lot about her parents and how they showed like love and approval, because also immigrant parents, or as she says, she was a 1.5 generation American. But she just said like, my dad maybe told me he was proud of me like once or twice. Like certainly I love yous were pretty rare, but
yeah,
for her, she said like, my dad would be like, I wouldn't have spent a Ferrari on your education if I didn't love you. Like, duh. Like,
totally.
Yeah, it's a different math.
Yeah, no, I think like they're just like, we moved here for you to have a better future. Like we did everything that we have done so that you could do what you're doing. Oh my God, I'm like getting emotional thinking about it.
Yeah, well, because now you're a parent, right? And now you're like, if I was in their position and I had an opportunity to give my kids something that you didn't have growing up, like, of course, you would turn your life upside down and do really hard things, but you cannot appreciate that until you are a parent.
Oh my God, no, there's so many things that I appreciate now, way more because I have, my 2 kids, and I'm just like even like, well, I don't know why I'm so emotional. Sorry.
There's something. No, this. It's not just you.
Do people cry all the time on your podcast? Yes. I'm so sorry.
No, it's. You know what it is? It's because we're not often given the space as grown-ups and parents in this chapter of our life to talk about ourselves and our journeys and the parenting piece. We're just not given the space because when you're with your friends, you're trying to catch up because you haven't seen them in a month.
Right.
When you're at work, you have to be like professional person, and then I show up and I'm like, let's talk about what makes you you. And turns out it's like when you go to therapy and your therapist is like, so how are you today? And you're like, I'm good. I don't know.
Totally. Oh my God.
We just don't have the space to talk about ourselves and actually like it's super
reflect. Yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah. Which is why what you're doing is so special. Let me collect myself.
No, you're good.
So anyways, what I was saying is like, even thinking about like how my mom cooked meals for us like every single night while she was working full time, and we did not appreciate it at all. Like it was like, oh, this again for dinner,
Yeah.
And now I look back and I'm making dinner for the kids, and I'm just like, you will eat this.
Yeah.
Like you should feel so lucky that there's a hot meal on the table. I don't say that, but like I'm thinking it.
Yes.
But it's just crazy because, and I'm sure there will be many, many more moments as the kids grow older, where I will have these moments where I'm like, wow, I didn't realize the sacrifice that my parents made, or that parents make in general, just for their
Yes.
kids. It is the most thankless job, but you do it because you love them so much and you just want the best for them.
Yes. Including like literally uprooting your entire life and moving to a new country and starting over. Now so there are four of you total. Are you guys all as adults? Are you close? Do you keep in touch?
Yeah, we are. We're really, really close. I consider my two older sisters like my second moms. I talk to them. I talk to them more than I talk to my mom on a daily basis. We have like our family chat, which is like my mom, my dad, my two sisters, my brother, and myself. And then I have like my sister's chat, and that's just like ongoing all the time. And I'm just like so, like I think growing up, obviously we weren't close because they were like in college while
Yeah.
I was, still at the house. And but after I left high school, I think that's when we got really, really close. And now more than ever, because I am leaning on them so hard for like parenting advice, because my oldest sister has 3 kids. My other sister has 2 kids. My brother has 1 kid. But brothers.
Brothers.
He's great.
Just
And
brothers.
like so sweet. But my sisters and I are extremely close, and we all live in like Southern California. Like I grew
That's
up in
the
Orange County.
dream.
Yeah, no, I again feel very, very blessed. And I tell my mom all the time, because she can sometimes give us shit for like not seeing her as often as she would like, which fair. But I'm like, you should be so lucky, because you should, thank your lucky stars, because we're all within like an hour driving distance at the very max. Like people's parents live across the country,
Yeah.
and you get to see your grandkids all the time. But I think that's just, also like Filipino culture. Like we're all just like very, very close knit. And if we could live like next door to each other, we would. So yeah, I feel really lucky to have a very, very close relationship with my siblings, which is what I really, really hope for Zoe and Cade.
Yes.
And we can't force them to be best friends, but I
think
constantly
about it all
remind-
the time. I
I
think about
remind
that
them
all the time.
time. Yeah, I'm like, these are your siblings are your oldest friends, right? They're the friend that you will have the longest in your life. They know you better than anyone, and they will literally, you're connected forever.
Yeah.
So like remember that. And I have heard, like, this is very unpopular opinion, but from some people, where it's like, I'm not going to force my kids to be close if they don't want to be close. And, that's what friends are for. But to me, I'm going to try as hard as I can for them to, for all of us to go on vacation together forever, like for us to just be together as much as possible, so that they know that they can be there for each other whenever they need them.
I think it's a really good point, like that required closeness or something. So I'm the youngest of 3, which is how I was like, I smell a youngest child.
Yeah.
Of many and my brother is 6 years older than me. He's the oldest. My parents are divorced, and they did some crazy custody thing when they were getting divorced. And my brother and I had very little time together growing up. Like the way, like he wanted to be at my dad's more. My sister and I were at my mom's more. And now as adults, I'm like, I don't know you. And like, he is my biological sibling. We technically grew up together, but we're still like trying to figure out what it's like to be around each other, because we didn't have that like forced closeness. So it's like, even if you're close and you're fighting, it's better than like not being in the same space as each other.
Totally. Yeah.
You gotta
so
like
interesting.
go to each other's sports games or recitals or
You gotta be in
whatever
the
it
car
is.
with each other for like 5 hours on
Yeah.
those road trips that you don't want to be on. I feel like it's just like an integral part of childhood.
Yeah.
But so are you and your brother are sort of like working
Yeah, I
towards,
mean, there's like
mending the relationship?
Yeah, there's no like ill will, because it's sort of like it was a purely environmental thing. Like it wasn't a choice he made or a choice I made. It was just like the circumstance. But you know, it's a lot of like texting each other. He now lives in Los Angeles as well, being like,
Oh,
hey,
good.
we should hang out. And then he's like, yeah, we should. And then we never do. And until like my kids or his kids are like, the cousins should be together. I'm like, yeah. And then we're always happy
Oh.
that we did it. But it
Yeah.
is like, especially because I think it's a brother, being like, brothers are so
Yeah.
foreign to me as a concept in general. Just the boys, it's just boy
Yep.
energy is, I
Yeah.
am learning that with my son. Like there are
Yeah.
feelings he has that I cannot understand.
Yes.
But yeah, like we're figuring it out now, but it is a very interesting thing where I'm like, oh, if we had just needed to be around each other more, it would have made a difference. So I am in the Sarah camp of just force them to be together.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
even if
I
they don't like
mean,
it.
right. And I'm sure that I will have some challenges coming up, especially because they are boy and girl. I can just imagine Zoe being like, I don't want my little brother following me around, but I'm like, going to be like, you have to
Yeah.
hang out with him.
Yeah.
You and
Well,
your
I
friends
wonder,
have to play with him.
I do wonder though, because I have a boy and a girl as well, but it's the other way
Yeah.
where my son is older. And
Yes.
I'm like, I feel like people can comment on the Substack or whatever their experiences, but I feel like having the older girl, there's a little bit more like sisterly responsibility that they naturally feel. Whereas my brother or my son will just be like, go back to the hospital, man. Like, I'm not interested.
Totally. No, I unfortunately agree with you in that. Like, I do feel like I always say this. I'm like, Zoe's going to be the one who's going to text Kate and be like, it's mom's birthday tomorrow.
Right.
Remember to call her.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or
And
we have to go home this weekend because whatever. So I'm grateful for that. But you never know. You never know.
Kate, you could show up for us and surprise us. So future
Yes.
you, please do.
Exactly.
Wait, okay. So let's get to, so you worked all these different jobs. Refinery 29, you started at what, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, about 4 years ago. So yeah, long story short, I went from like entertainment journalism to fashion and beauty, where I really felt like that was my place. And then beauty, just being in LA, and it was in 2015, 2016, like beauty was just like booming. And
Yeah.
I also just felt like if I had to pick between beauty and fashion, I felt like beauty was where I was supposed to be. And it was just like it's such an inclusive,
I was just going to ask that.
innovative.
So, okay.
Yes.
Not to interject, but between those two fields, do you feel like beauty is more friendly than fashion?
Oh, 100%. When I used to have to cover fashion, I would always be so intimidated by the other fashion girlies and like what they were wearing. And I even remember like interviewing for some fashion jobs, and they quite literally were like it was like they were quizzing me on the history of certain designers and stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
I appreciated fashion the way that a lot of people who like clothes do, but I wasn't like studying every season of, Chanel, Dior, the way that maybe some people really do.
Yeah.
But I remember after that one interview, I was like, I don't think this place is for me. But I still continued to cover, like mainstream fashion and fashion trends. But I just always found myself leaning more towards beauty and feeling more welcome and included. And I think that beauty also is just a place where, it's a much more approachable, it's much more affordable. Everyone can walk into even like a CVS or a Target, especially now, and buy really affordable products and create the same, high level glam of like, a celebrity makeup artist. And especially, I think in the last 10 years, because of YouTube and social media, it's just become so diverse with, all of the different representations of what beauty looks like. So I feel very lucky to sort of have been able to be a part of this growth, just even being able to cover it and in being invited to these events. And the best part of my job is to be able to meet all these incredible founders, experts, and, being able to like sit in a room with Pat McGrath and watch her teach me how to like blend foundation. Like, you know, those are like the highlights of my life. So long story short, really focused on beauty, became the beauty director at Refinery 29. And then I also started a podcast with my girlfriend and work wife, Kirby Johnson.
I was going to say there are two really important relationships we have to talk about here. And it's your work wife and your actual husband.
Oh my gosh, 100%. And we have Glossangeles where we talk about beauty. So yes, I'm very much embedded in the beauty world, and I feel so incredibly grateful that I get to do that. It's just so much fun. There are, you know, many people who would argue that beauty is frivolous, and I truly believe it is not. It is not. I think there's a lot that we obviously have to talk about in terms of this younger generation growing up in a world where beauty has become so prevalent and important. And I have a lot of thoughts on that too. But I think just in general, I really feel like it's become such a positive, it has had such a positive impact on the way that we see ourselves and the way that we express ourselves.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's kind of like two sides to it with the kid stuff. And I want to get to also meeting your husband, but there's two sides to this. There's the side where I think we went through a period or like there was a little bubble of like samification where all of a sudden all of the beauty trends where everybody was trying to look like a Kardashian. I think that's kind of over. But like they have had a massive impact on like what people try and look like.
Yeah.
That I think is starting to change. So there's like that aspect when thinking about kids. But then there's this other aspect of like when I was 10, 12, 14, I looked fucking crazy when I tried to put makeup on. Like blue eyeshadow, like just crazy shit because nobody was teaching us what to do. Butterfly clips front and center, which are kind of back. But
yes, they are.
These girls, like my nieces who are sort of 12, 13 age, they look so put together and chic in a way.
There's no awkward phase.
Where'd the awkward phase go?
Yeah, no, same. My niece who is 13 can do her hair way better than I can now and also could ever have done when I was her age.
Yeah.
The access to like being able to learn anything on the internet. It's like YouTube University, man.
It's powerful.
You really can learn. It's powerful. It is a little scary.
Yeah.
I will admit it's a little frightening. But I think after talking to, you know, a lot of experts and even people like, you know, Eva Chen, who is, you know, at Instagram and she has her own children, I think the most important thing that we all have to remember and learn here as parents is that like the most crucial thing we can do is just be there and to parent while they are consuming this content, whether or not they are, you know, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is. But like we ultimately are the ones who can tell them like this is wrong and this is right, you know, or just to be like, okay, so yeah, you want to use skincare, but let me educate you on what these ingredients are that they're using and why you don't need it, you know?
Yes.
Instead of just being like, this is stupid, like stop watching that, you know? Like I feel like it's really important to sit down with our kids and like if they are showing an interest in like Drunk Elephant or following these, you know, beauty influencers, like making sure that they know like that these people also like spend all day trying to look the way that they look. This is their job. You know, this is not like they didn't just wake up like this. This is how, you know, we would approach anything in parenting in life, right? Like it's like when we're watching something on TV or a movie, like watching it with your children and, you know, digesting it and having a conversation about it. I think a lot of people have a lot of criticism about beauty and skincare and the Sephora kids, and rightfully so, because I don't think that, you know, a 13, 14-year-old needs Drunk Elephant and should be using a retinol by any means. But I think that you need to tell them why they shouldn't be. You shouldn't just like shut it down. This is an opportunity for you to have a conversation with your kid and be a part of what her and her friends are talking about, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we need to not be so quick to judge our children, because we also have to think about, like you said, I looked fucking crazy too. Like, I was using eyeliner and like black eyeliner all like around the rim of my eye. But like, no one told me that I shouldn't be doing that, or why was I even doing that? You know what I mean?
Totally. Totally. And, there's this one woman I love in the world of like positive shit on the internet, Nikki Marie. And one of the things that Nikki says is like, she is so fucking interested in what her kids are into. Not because she gives a shit about like the video game that her son is into. Her kids are a little bit older. But it's like showing them that the stuff they're interested in is interesting gives them an opportunity to like decide intrinsically for themselves, because they're constantly looking to us for approval, judgment, whatever. And it's not like you have to say that is you made the best painting ever today, but engaging with the fact that they did something matters. So like if the beauty stuff is interesting to them, or if it's sports or whatever, it's just like asking them the questions and having curiosity with them. Like, there can't really be a downside to that, right? I mean, sure, if they're like, I want to torture animals, like maybe call someone. But if it's within the standard deviation of stuff to be interested in, like.
Right. Well, yes. And like, even as little as 2 years old and Cade's obsession with cars, I don't know shit about cars or construction. But I'm
except
learning.
now I'm like, oh, right. So that's a double-decker car carrier. And that cement mixer looks like it's adding water, like all of this stuff. And I'm like, what?
Right.
An articulated arm on a crane? I don't even know. But I have learned so much shit about the truck.
Right. Or even like, watching a Disney princess movie. Like, we're not just turning it on and like maybe sometimes we're just sitting the kids in front of the TV because we have to. But like, we're often... Also, Matt and I are like watching with Zoe and Cade so that we, can answer questions. Like, it's like, where does Frozen take place? Like, where are her parents? Like, all the questions so that we can, I mean, that the parents of Disney movies.
Why Disney? Why do you always have to kill the parents? Surely there's some other trauma that these kids, I mean, like, that's why I appreciated Inside Out 1, where like the trauma was moving. It's like, okay, everybody's alive.
Yeah,
that's a good start.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God, totally. But yeah, like I need to follow this mom, because I do agree. It's like, we just need to engage with our kids.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that I would say is something very different from how most of our parents, and this is generalizing, raised us millennials, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I think like we millennial parents now and Gen Z parents like want to have like an active part in our kids' interests, whether it is whatever video game that we're going to have to get into because our sons are going to want to play with them. Or, like the skincare routine. And I honestly am like very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's something you can bond over, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm constantly, would love to talk to my son's like really into like booger butt, penis pants, poop diaper. Like, I would love to have something else to talk about that's not that,
Right. Yeah.
Like, bring on the cars and Formula One or whatever it's going to be, please. Yeah. So you mentioned Matt. When does Matt enter the picture?
Yes. Okay. So we both went to UCSB, but we did not date or hang out in college. We met about a year-ish after we graduated through a mutual friend of ours who also went to UCSB with us. And yeah, he just... I mean, it wasn't like love at first sight, though he probably will tell you it was. He has like differing stories that we did meet in college. And I was like, no, we didn't. And he was like, yeah, we did. And I always thought you were so cute. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You're lying. So we have different, varying stories. So yeah, we had, we had that one meeting and then we didn't talk for like a few months and then we sort of rekindled and then, have been together ever since. We so we've been together for like since like 2012.
It's a good run.
No, wait, sorry. Yes, no, that's right. 2012. It's a very long time. And we got married in 2016. And
did you guys know that you wanted to have a family?
Yeah, we didn't talk like, it wasn't like something we talked about at the very early stages of our relationship because we were so young. And I think we were very lucky in that like we've been together through so many stages of our lives, but we really have been able to like see each other at our worst and also our best. And we've gotten to travel the world and do all the things and really determine like whether this person is the right person you want to be with to raise a family and have kids. Because as we learned, like it's so important to have a strong foundation in a relationship, a friendship, you know, and I think that also, we talk about this all the time. We have a Frenchie who's almost 13, and he was our trial kid. Like, I consider him yes, I consider him like our oldest child, but like I learned a lot about, you know, how I was going to parent my kids based on how I took care of Ollie, and same with Matt. Like we figured out sort of like who we would both be in that relationship. But I'm just so grateful that we had that time and that we knew each other inside out before we had our kids. And I know that not a lot of people get to do that, especially for those people who meet later in life. And I'm not saying it's necessary, but I think we were just very fortunate to have that time.
And did you guys surprise yourselves at all with when the real kids showed up? So wait, what does he do for a job? What field is he in?
Yeah. So he actually works in construction.
Okay. Aww.
Yeah. I'm very different.
They can bond?
Yeah, totally. They can actually bond. Very different from what I do, which I'm very grateful for, because sometimes at the end of the day, it's like I don't want to talk about like any drama from like beauty or media or whatever, and I can just, you know. And same with him. Like it's fun to not be from the same world. But yeah, he has a very different schedule than mine. Also, like he's out the door probably like 6:30 in the morning, maybe earlier. So like I have mornings with the kids, which as every parent knows is like one of the most stressful times of the day. Getting the kids fed and dressed and ready while you're like answering emails and Slacks and trying to get yourself ready. But I have a lot of events and stuff at night, and he handles, you know, bath time, bedtime by himself a lot. Even like when he gets home from work at around like 4:30, you know, plays with the kids, takes them to the park, does all the things so that I can get my shit done. I'm not saying it's perfect, because it's not. And, you know, there's definitely moments where like, you know, we had a fight a couple weeks ago because I am doing a lot of things and I'm on my phone a lot when I shouldn't be. And he was like, I just want you to be present when you're here
Oh my
with
God.
us.
We had this fight like monthly, I feel like.
Yeah. I think it's, you know, like I then remember and I put my phone away, but obviously like a couple weeks pass and I'm looking at my phone again. But at least I'm
when
like,
he calls you out on that, is there a part of you that gets mad? Because like when my husband calls me out, I like my initial reaction is to be like, oh, fuck you, like I'm working or like I'm doing something of value. I'm ordering groceries or I'm answering a work email.
Yes.
My first instinct is rage.
Oh, yeah. And I yell back and I get so angry. And because it is true. It's like when I'm not, you know, working, I'm ordering groceries. I'm planning my kids' birthday parties. I'm, you know, doing a million things that are not, you know, social media related or like online shopping. Like I don't even have time for that anymore on my phone. It is rage. But then like I see, you know, the intention behind it. And I know he just wants me to be there with the kids and engage with the kids and be present, because I hope he never listens to this, but he's not on his phone as much as I am. Yeah. But I also
you hope he never listens to this because you're admitting this, right? I love it.
Yes.
I was like, oh, what juicy shitty thing is she gonna say? Yeah,
no, it's just that he's right. That he's right. But I mean, my job is online. Literally, my whole existence is based on, the internet. So it's very different. And he understands that. And he's very supportive, like 99% of the time. But, sometimes it is annoying. Like, there's so many things that, I don't know if I were him that I would put up with. But he's extremely supportive of my, 10 jobs and, recording our family on social media and posting, and obviously it's like always a conversation. I make sure that he feels comfortable, and I'm sure that we'll have many conversations and check-ins, like sharing our life with the world. But for the most part, like, I just feel so lucky that I have someone that gets it, even though he's not in my world. And he's like, you gotta go to Korea like 6 months after you just had a baby. Like, this was after I had Cade. I got invited to Korea, and I was like,
the skincare mecca.
I was like, I gotta go. And he's like, you gotta go. And so he took care of like Zoe, and Cade was only 6 months. Meanwhile, I was like pumping on the way to Korea, had to figure out the fucking like rules about hand carrying my milk. I couldn't hand carry it. I had to freeze it and then like check it in a bag, pack it with all these like freezer packs. And I see the suitcase coming out from the whatever, and it was like soaking wet because the ice had melted. The milk was fine. I'll never do that again. But he knows that I'm working, and also it's hard. Like, I don't want to leave my kids. Like, I never want to leave my kids anymore, but these opportunities are like, I'm doing it for them too, right? Like, I'm building this career ultimately for my kids.
Once you get, because I feel like leaving kids, the hardest part is almost like the anticipating leaving. And then
1,000%.
once you're gone,
once you're there
in that other world, are you just like, oh, right, I love this?
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, I always tell that to, especially like my friends who have just had babies and like it's really hard for them to leave. I'm like, it doesn't get easier. But like the worst part is literally that week before, when you're like anticipating it and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be gone for however long. And then you're also prepping all the things, because not that your partner or your nanny can't do it. It's just like for you to have that control of being like, this is what they're eating. I have like a million, snacks and food for them in case anything happens. And then it's like the hour before you leave, and then on the way to the airport. And then once you're at the airport, you're like, okay, like, I think I'm going to be okay. Yeah. And then it goes by so quick.
Now, when you get back from those trips, what is he like? Okay, bye. Because he's been on duty.
Yeah, no, not really. I give him the opportunity. I'm like, if you want to go, like, leave, like, please. But he like loves just being around the kids, and like, he's one of those dads that like genuinely loves being a dad.
That's sweet.
So yeah, I again feel very, very lucky. But I think too, he knows that like he's gone a lot, especially like all from when they wake up till the end of the day sometimes, so he feels like he misses out too, so he wants to be there.
Now, culturally, if I recall correctly, he is a white man.
He is a white man.
Do you guys ever find, and the reason why I ask this is I am Jewish, my husband is just like pretty came off the Mayflower white guy, and even in that dynamic, there are often cultural differences in parenting or life or whatever that I'm just like, why can't you understand this? And he's like, why are you doing that? Or why is everyone in your family talking over each other or whatever it is? He's like, I don't understand it. Do you guys find that you have those situations as well?
Oh my God. Yeah. All the time. Like, he has had to learn, how similar to your family dynamics, like you said, we are like in each other's shit. Like, he's like, why does your sister know that? Like, why did you tell her that? I'm like, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't you tell your sister about that? He comes from like a very small, quiet family. They all love each other, but like, they're not in each other's shit. Like I said, the way that we are, they're very lovely. And so, like, for example, we're going to Europe next month, and it's a work trip that I'm going on, but I'm bringing everyone with me, and we decided to invite his parents along because they haven't
Sweet.
traveled to Europe in a really long time, and we were like, I think they really want to come with us. And his mom was just like, thank you so much for inviting us, like this means so much to us, and like we will give you your space, like if you guys want to go do your own thing. And I was like, meanwhile, my mom's like, when are you getting invited to Paris with Chanel again? Like, you better bring me. Like, I'm saying, and she's like, why wasn't I invited? She just like, totally different. I'm just like, your parents are so nice. But he has also had to deal with like all literally like, four of my siblings, their partner, or three of my siblings, their partners, my mom, my dad, all their kids come over to our house and they don't leave, like they hang out for like 6 hours. And I think it was an adjustment at first, but he also loves it because he like, didn't grow up with that sort of like busy family dynamic. And he knows how much it means to me, and he wants them to be a huge part of our kids' lives. So he welcomes it. But it was definitely like a learning. And there are still things where he's like, do we really have to do that? I'm like, yeah, we have to. I'm sorry. He's like, okay.
My sister just came to visit this past weekend with her kids, and they stayed with us. And now we've been together for a long time. Now my husband's like, I'm going to go take a sound break. And he just like goes upstairs into the office and closes the door. It's just like, he's like, happy for you guys. And I need a minute because it's.
No, totally. I'm like that too. I'm like, if you don't have to come to this dinner.
Yeah, you don't need to be here.
We just saw them last week. Like, you don't have to come. Or like, if you need to like leave the house, like by all means. And for the most part, he like hangs as much as he can, but sometimes he's like, okay, I'll take a minute. So I like that, a sound break.
Because initially like he was doing it and just leaving the room, and everyone would be like, where the fuck are you going? It's so rude. But now that everyone's like, oh, this is like a sensory thing, then everyone's like, okay, like take your time, take your space. Like, we would rather you do that than be grumpy.
Yes.
Now, Sarah, so like I said at the beginning of this and confirmed, like you really have built for yourself like your dream in a lot of ways, and your dream has been refined over time, no pun intended. And you've kind of come into this space, both I think being able to be the parent you want to be and like making space and time for that, having your broader family around and your career. But parenting has changed how you work, I think. And there's ways that you can reflect on and tell me, but as a consumer of what you do, I think one of the obvious ways is you've been interviewing celebrities since you were in your 20s at this point, but how you are connecting with them is really different. So, of course, you've seen Rihanna a million times, but now you and Rihanna are having a very different conversation, right? She's opening up to you about all the stuff that makes us all feel so seen as parents. Hailey Bieber, somebody that like you've developed a relationship with, who is also a mom. Do you find that, because from outside it looks like the answer is yes, but it feels like you are able to now connect with these people that you've known for a long time in a totally new way? Has that sort of changed your approach to how you do what you do?
Yes, I love, those are my favorite conversations. Anytime I get to talk to Rihanna, she's just like mom goals, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, yes, of course I want to talk to you about your beauty and everything, but like, let's talk about being moms, because she keeps it so real. And I like so appreciate that about her. And it always does well because it's always so relatable.
Yeah.
It's like, I could have never anticipated my most recent interview with her where she's talking about, quote unquote bouncing back, and feeling like herself, to have gone as viral as it did. But I was so happy that it did, because the amount of messages I got from other moms being like, I needed to hear this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for asking her this. Like, wow, if Rihanna is going through this, then like, thank God, like, it's normal what I'm feeling. Like, they just all felt so seen.
Yeah.
And I just was so, so happy that that message got out there in that way. I haven't gotten the chance to talk very deeply with Hailey Bieber about being a mom, but we do, like, last time I saw her, you know, I was like, oh my God, you look amazing. You look so hot. Like, and she's like, you know, like being a mom, hot moms, like, all, you know, like,
Yeah.
she's like entertaining the idea that, you know, it's not easy. And I mean, she busts her ass. She has a very amazing trainer. If you don't follow her, her name's Kirsty Godso. She trains Olivia Rodrigo, Kaya Gerber, Hailey Bieber. So like, she's putting in the work. It's not like she's a naturally a
She
beautiful
didn't
woman,
hashtag
but
wake up like this.
she did not hashtag wake up like this. But it really, and I feel like this with literally any other mom I meet, celebrity or not, like we are truly bonded. Like
Yes.
in ways that I never knew.
Never.
I like never knew. You know, it's like when you're in a bathroom stall or not in a bathroom stall, but you're in the bathroom and there's a mom coming in with her baby and you can tell she's struggling. And I'm like, do you need to use the bathroom? I can watch your kid. And she's like, yes, thank you so much. Like just being there for each other. And like, obviously that's very scary to like go pee and leave your child with someone, but like there's like a trust,
Yes,
you know?
there is. Yeah.
And you know, a mom just seeing you like at the airport and you know,
airport,
smiling and
man.
offering the
Yes.
airport. I have so much anxiety about this trip next month to Europe. I'm like,
Listen, you
God,
said it so breezy, I wasn't going to say anything, but like, God bless you, and I hope Cade is into a tablet or something. Team, I need your help.
No,
if you love it here, please like and
literally
leave a
pray-
review on
pray
your
for us
favorite
all.
podcast platform.
I'm like, I hope
Subscribe
we're
to
seated
the
next to
Substack
parents
for full
who
access
get
to
it.
this episode's show notes
But,
and
like,
join
moms,
the discussion.
you
And
guys,
of course,
like,
follow
the
me on Instagram at Mutha,
community.
MUTHA.life.
I just
for a daily
feel
look at
like,
all things Mutha.
wow.
Thanks
Like
for
I'm
listening.
amazed by
Be
it
sure
daily.
to tune in next week for
And I'm
another
so
chat in the
impressed
closet.
by all of us
This
daily.
podcast was produced
And
by Mother Life.
no matter,
Music
you know,
by
whether
Ronan
you
Landa.
are
See
a
you next
working
time.
mom, a stay-at-home mom, a stepmom, whatever it is, like you are so important and I am just in awe of all of you.
Yeah. Amen. Well, I think we can probably end on that because there's no better point to end on. But this was such a wonderful conversation. I mean, watching you find your joy in your work and your kids and knowing that it's possible to do both and that you've got the partner who's got it figured out and that also he gets overwhelmed by the sound with your loud Filipino family, like all of it is what we needed to hear today. Sarah, thank you so much for this.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I'm sorry I cried. Thanks for making me cry.
Team, I need your help. If you love it here, please like and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Subscribe to the Substack for full access to this episode's show notes and join the discussion. And of course, follow me on Instagram at Mutha, MUTHA.life for a daily look at all things Mutha. Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another Chat in the Closet. This podcast was produced by Mother Life, music by Ronan Landa. See you next time.